Am I the a-hole for blowing up on my husband's friend after her wife died? My 36 female husband Ian, 44 male, is close friends with a woman named Jenna. They've been friends for a long time, before Ian and I got together, so I know her fairly well too, but we really have nothing in common and we're not exactly friends. Jenna's wife Laura very sadly and somewhat suddenly passed in early March. She was terminally ill but responding to treatment very well and was expected to survive another 2 to 5 years. She's been leaning on Ian heavily for support, which I understand, but she's been at our house every single day since and even sleeping in our guest room most nights because she doesn't want to be home alone. Which would be okay, except she is getting more and more passive-aggressive towards me and weirdly territorial of Ian. I've reminded myself that I don't think I could stand to see a happy couple for months if I lost Ian, and to be patient. It's not personal. My birthday was on Sunday. I got home Saturday after a morning out and Jenna was there. I was making small talk when I asked Ian what time he made dinner reservations for the next day. Jenna inserted herself right here and asked Ian if he was going to be out the next day, and he said yes. She started panicking and saying that he couldn't and she wasn't ready to spend an evening alone. I was going to tell her that she could still hang out here while we gone, and she looked at me and said, "Don't you have any fucking friends you can go with?" And I just blew the fuck up. "Don't you have any other fucking friends you can go bother?" And so on. She called me selfish for monopolizing my husband, and I had enough and told her to get the fuck out of my house and not to come back, ever. Ian had been trying to calm things down between us, but it spiraled out of control fast, and he ended up escorting Jenna out and telling her that he'd come visit her in a few days, but he would be backing my decision because of how she spoke to me. I was happy for his support and still am, but it's been a few days and I just feel bad all around about it. I should have been more understanding of her, but I also feel like she should treat me more respectfully, and I'm not really sure if I overreacted.
Not the a-hole. She was.
So?
Far out of line, and especially in your own home. I'd also sit down with your husband and talk about it. To me personally, it really seems like she likes your husband more than just a good friend. I understand she had a wife, but maybe she's bi and hasn't been open with it?
I seriously doubt it. I don't think I'm welcome to use the same term she uses for herself, but it starts with bull.
Not the a-hole. Jenna was out of line, but it is also good that you are reconsidering your actions. This is a tough situation for everyone involved. There are no simple good guys or bad guys here. I was a young widow myself, and those first few months were a blur. The things that upset me then, I can now see how I overreacted and took things personally that I should not have. I was irrational at times and got super emotional over the slightest things. None of this gave me a pass to say or do anything to others. Same applies to Jenna. I'm glad your husband backed you. That is a good sign for your relationship. I would tell him how much you appreciate his support, because it must have been hard for him to escort his good friend out when she is suffering. It was the right thing, but it was still probably hard for him to do. Talk to him about how he can support Jenna moving forward with better boundaries. Get agreement between the two of you on how you both will interact with Jenna and support her. Eventually, Jenna will be in a better space, and you may be able to reconcile, to a certain degree, for the sake of your husband.
I think this is the most measured reply. She absolutely trampled over so many boundaries, was rude to OP, and is clearly using her husband as an emotional stand-in. Her intense reaction to not feeling able to be alone for the night is very telling. Her behavior isn't okay, but the context is certainly helpful. Not the a-hole, OP.
Not the a-hole. Grief is an explanation, not an excuse. She's leaning far too much on your husband. And for her to insult and swear at you for spending time with your husband on your birthday is completely out of pocket. Props to your husband for backing you, but he needs to lay down the law with this woman like yesterday. This should not have gone on as long as it has. Am I the a-hole for telling my boyfriend to stop eating so much? This such a stupid fight honestly, but Reddit do your thing. So some backstory. During my 28 male undergrad years, my parents paid for my grocery bills because they really, rightfully so, believe that good food is important to a student's health. I know, my parents are awesome. They never set a monthly limit to how much I could spend. But I was really frugal and never went over a $200 limit I imposed on myself. Now I'm back in grad school for my master's, and my parents are covering again. I know, I'm an adult with a few years of work under my belt now. But not having to worry about groceries lets me chip at rent and loans and other bills without losing sleep. I'm back on my extremely frugal way of eating and meal planning because still not gonna take advantage of my parents' generosity. My 27 male boyfriend, however, basically inhales all my food every time he's over. Like eating all my snacks and legit every frozen meal, all the meat. One time he even ate the other half of a cheese I had already bit into, etc. So he's basically wolfing down my dinner and lunch. It's forced me to open my own wallet to accommodate him because not gonna send my parents a suddenly huge grocery bill. And he's seriously messing up my finances. I plan basically down to the dollar. We got into arguments and his side is basically that my parents are gonna cover anyway, so I need to stop spending my own money and not worry so much. And when I go over to his house I eat his food too, but I don't eat as much as he does. My arguments are, just because my parents are covering doesn't mean he can eat anything he wants. He legit eats my whole fridge, I'm not even joking. The only thing he leaves are the vegetables. And he could eat less? When we go out he often has leftovers, so why eat everything at my place? I've banned him from cooking and using the raw ingredients at my place, and I'm only giving him my small stash of snacks when he comes over. And after the third time he's not talking to me. Honestly, this is such a stupid fight, but if am I the a-hole, then I'll apologize.
Just start with I am really grateful my parents are helping me and I am not going to abuse that. I don't want this to be a big deal and I want you to be able to eat enough while you are over, but I am spending about $1 more per week over when it is just me and I would like you to contribute with funds or grocery shopping. That increased cost for groceries at mine includes when I eat at yours, so that should be fair. Can you help me out because I really can't afford spending that much? And think of an if not, more time at his place eating more meals.
Thanks. This is exactly how I feel, just didn't know how to express it verbally.
Not the a-hole, your boyfriend is inconsiderate as hell and it feels like he is more just using you as a food bank so he doesn't have to spend as much money on his own food, and it feels like he will likely extend this to other things the more your relationship progresses. Also, your boyfriend is being completely inconsiderate of your own parents and by extension feels like he is entitled to do as he pleases through you while actively exploiting you and leaving you hungry.
This is more of a problem than him eating your food. He feels entitled to your food possessions. He feels entitled to your parents' finances. He doesn't care that he leaves little for you. He hasn't apologized. He doesn't care about your feelings, opinions, wants, needs. He's a greedy a-hole, not the a-hole.
Update. Wow, this blew up. Spent my morning thinking this over, LOL. But here's some updates. Some people are worried about the $200 a month that was 10 years ago when I was in undergrad. Sorry for the confusion. It's closer to $300 to $400 now, and some months when I get my school's student food bank. I only go if they have too much because I know there's people that actually need it. And it's like $0 to $100, so I guess it's $250 to $350 average. But yeah, I'm doing all right. I didn't mention this, but I did cover part of my parents' mortgage when I was working after my bachelor's. Some people made comments about me leeching off my parents. I am right now, but I did help them too. My parents are angels and they know my friends' birthdays and always tell me to take them out during those months, so they're okay with paying for my boyfriend, but I'm not. Even during undergrad when I dated another guy I thought I wanted to one day marry, I never used their money on him. I don't use their money on anyone but myself. Does that make me selfish? Maybe. But honestly, I don't really care. Lots of people are telling me to dump him. Honestly, the spark wasn't there anymore for a while because we've been fighting over this and some other stuff for months. And a lot of people are telling me this is a respect issue more than a stupid fight like I thought. I'm gonna think about how to approach this since he's just ignoring me now, LOL. But yeah, think letting this relationship go might be the right move. I think I already knew, but sometimes it's hard even if you know it's the right thing to do, you know? Anyway, not gonna check this account anymore cause it was just a throwaway. Thanks Reddit for the help.
What do you think of these stories? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel for more interesting stories.